Welcome back to my channel, guys. I hope you're all doing good. In today's video, I'm going to review a palette from PAC Cosmetics. You may also be wondering why both my eyes are looking different and they're not in sync. To find out why this happened, please keep on watching. But before we get started, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel. And now let's jump in the review. So in this video, I'm going to first talk about the eyeshadow palette. Then I'm going to go on to the swatches. And then I will show you how I created this eye look, followed by my reviews on the blendability, pigmentation, and the fallout of the eyeshadows. This is the Paparazzi palette and this is how it looks up close. It has 15 shades and all of them are matte. It has a variety of transition shades, dark shades like the brown and the black, and a few bright colors like the green, orange, blue, red, and purple. These look extremely bright and pigmented, but we will find that out once we're into the swatching. So the palette is not very heavy in weight. It has got a transparent covering over here, which lets you see the colors of the eyeshadows. I also purchased this palette for 3,285 rupees from their website. So actually, I did not order the Paparazzi palette. I ordered the Subtle Beauty palette. However, I got this palette from them and it also said the Subtle Beauty palette. Whereas on their website, the Subtle Beauty palette looks like this and the Paparazzi palette looks like this. So there was a mismatch in the name as well as in the palette. So I was extremely disappointed when I received this palette because this is not the palette I wanted. These were not the shades I wanted. I wanted the Subtle Beauty palette. They also sent me an apology message and were kind enough to ask me if I wanted a refund or I wanted to change my palette. Aww. Please also stay till the end of this video because you will find out something extremely exciting about this palette. Now let's jump into the swatches. So these are the first two rows of the palette that I could only fit at once on my arm, and these are also only one swipe swatches. And this is the last row of the palette. Again, these are only one swipe swatches. So these were the swatches, guys, and now for the eye look, I'm going to first start with applying a P.Louise base in shade number 2. So I'm going to first apply it generously all over my lid, and then I'm going to blend it out with a brush or with my finger. I don't know why I switched from a brush to my finger, but I'm only going to tap all over my lid. You can use a brush if you like, but you have to ensure to tap it and not swipe it, just so that it settles on the lid and does not remove the product. Now taking the blue shade from the palette and with my Morphe B83 brush, I'm going to apply it in the outer corners of my eye. I'm taking the color little by little and slowly building the intensity as per my liking. I'm also just tapping it first to set the eyeshadow base we have applied, and then I will blend it out in circular and windshield wiper motions. Then with the black shade in the palette and with my Morphe M506 brush, I'm going to apply it in the outer corners of my eye over the blue shade. I'm going to take the pigment as less as possible and slowly build the color as I want to increase the intensity gradually. I'm then going to blend both the colors together in circular motions and in swiping motions. Now the black shade wasn't very intense because I could see the blue shade that we applied before it. I could see it easily beneath it. Next, I'm going to create a cut crease using a flat shader brush, and I'm going to use the Maybelline Age Divine Concealer to create my cut crease. I'm going to start from the inner corners all the way to the centers of my lid, following my crease line, and I'm also going to fill it through so that I can put another shade over it. With the bright pink color from the palette, I'm going to place it over the cut crease that we have done, and I'm going to use a flat shader brush. This one's from Miniso. Once I've set the cut crease with the pink shade, I'm going to increase the intensity of it by applying more over it. This pink shade was so pretty, you guys. It was so intense and super bright and so pigmented. I am totally in love with it, and honestly, this is, I think, the best color in the palette. Next, I'm going to go with this shade from the palette, which looks a little bit darker to the pink shade, and I'm going to diffuse the pink shade to the blue shade that we applied in the outer corners of our eye. As this color was not doing its job and I was really not happy with the pigmentation, I have switched to the blue shade from the palette, and I'm going to diffuse the pink and the blue shade together. As I was blending these two shades together, it gave me a beautiful purple color, and I was really happy with this purple as it was really bright and pretty, unlike the purple shade from the palette. Now, taking this dusty pink transition shade from the palette and my PAC 374 brush, I'm going to blend out the harsh lines that have been created with the blue shade right under my brows. Now, I had to put a lot of effort to blend it out, but I was pretty disappointed as there was no pigmentation from the eyeshadow, and I was not very happy with the color payoff as well. So as I was blending, I did notice that the blue shade was coming on my brush instead of the application of the transition color on my lid. Moving on, I tried the white shade from the palette, and with my pencil brush from PAC 381, I'm going to apply it in the inner corners of my eye, followed by the highest point under my brows. Now, this color in the palette looks extremely pigmented, but upon application I was extremely disappointed as it was not as pigmented as it looks on the palette. I had to again work extremely hard for the color payoff, and again it led to another disappointment. And since I'm such a big fan of PAC Cosmetics, I did want to give this palette another try. And for that, I took out the black shade from the palette with the help of a spoolie. And I also mixed it with the MAC Fix Plus to try it as an eyeliner. So this is how it looked like upon mixing, and I thought it was a little liquidy to use it as an eyeliner, so I mixed another portion of the eyeshadow with the Duraline, and it looked a little more promising as an eyeliner, so I went with the Duraline one and applied it as an eyeliner. And I was so happy as it became so intense. It just went on like butter. I really felt that I was using a gel cream liner from PAC and not the eyeshadow. It was really, really good. So I finished off my look by applying the pink and the blue eyeshadow in my lower lash line. I have also applied some mascara from Smashbox and a highlighter from Morphe Cosmetics on the high points of my cheek, inner corners of my eye, my brow arch, and a little bit on my chin. So this is how I created this side of my eye, guys, and now let me tell you a little bit about the eyeshadows. So there are only a few colors that are extremely pigmented and they blend beautifully from the palette. The black surprisingly is not very intense, and I'm so sorry to say that the purple was horrible to apply. I applied the purple on this side of my eye and I was so disappointed on its application, blendability and color payoff that I had to change my eye look for the other eye. The first two shades in the palette are extremely similar, so I don't know why they have added both the colors on the palette. They also do not have any pigment because I tried to blend it over the blue shade and under my eyebrows, and it did not do anything. So there was a little bit fallout from the eyeshadows, and surprisingly it just went all the way to my nose, but I was happy that I had applied some loose powder, so I kind of saved the rest of my face. So that is not one of my concerns because I just like to concentrate on the final effect. However, in this case, the final effect was also not up to my expectation. Now, I did give this palette another try by using the black shade and mixing it with the Inglot Duraline mixing agent, and I did apply it as an eyeliner on this eye. And I was extremely happy and stunned. You do have to let it dry down because I've realized that it just touches your crease line if it is not dry. So I decided to mix all the eyeshadows, of course, separately with the Inglot Duraline gel, and the swatches for those are here. So this is again the first two rows of the palette, and as you can see, I have placed them right next to the dry swatches that I showed you earlier. And this is the last row of the palette. As you can see, some of the swatches are still wet, as with Duraline it does take a while to dry. So these were the swatches with the Duraline pigment of the eyeshadows. I mixed them on the palette itself and my palette currently looks like this. Now I feel giving a plastic cover makes complete sense because it can be used as a paint palette. Honestly, I was blown away with their pigmentation when mixed with Duraline. They were super intense and the color payoff was intense. I've also changed my lip color by mixing 3 shades while I was swatching them. I was mesmerized and I really liked the color, so I've changed my lip color as well. I also noticed that the only color that is cracking after drying up is the color white from the palette. So I definitely do not recommend this product if you want to buy a palette of matte shades. However, if you want to create a dramatic or any other look, you must get this palette for their pigmentation and the variety of colors. And with that, it's a wrap, guys. I hope this video was helpful. Please don't mind my 2 different eye looks. If you want me to review another palette of your choice, please do let me know in the comment section down below. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up, and if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do so. It will mean the world to me. For those who are new here, I post videos every week and I will see you very soon in my next video. Till then, take care. Thank you for watching.